Hello, this is Miss Melissa at the Jackson County Public Library in Ripley, West Virginia. I'm going to be reading for you The Leprechaun Under the Bed. It was written by Teresa Bateman and it's illustrated by Paul Meisel. That means she wrote the story and he drew all the pretty pictures. If you want to know more about both of them, it's usually written in the back of the book. Teresa Bateman is a school librarian, a storyteller, and the author of many stories and poems. She lives in Tacoma, Washington, and Paul Meisel has illustrated more than 60 books for children. He lives with his family in Connecticut. You can visit him on the World Wide Web at www.paulmeisel.com. I like to tell you that because someday you might write a story or draw pretty pictures that you want someone to see, and you would like someone to say that you were the one who did it. The Leprechaun Under the Bed by Teresa Bateman and illustrated by Paul Meisel. And Teresa says she wrote this for Eva and Caden. May you grow to appreciate the value of a good friend. And for Scotty, welcome. And Paul said he drew the pictures for Cam Campbell Clark, the person responsible for my children being 1/4 Irish. Love, Paul. Brian O'Shea enjoyed his privacy. A leprechaun can be alone without being lonely, he liked to say. Indeed, he would know, for he made a snug home beneath the ground in an out-of-the-way spot. So now you know what a leprechaun's house looks like. Looks like he's enjoying himself. But time went on. Big, tall human people moved nearer and nearer, until one day a man named Sean McDonald started building a stone cottage right overhead. Well, Brian tried leprechaun magic to stop Sean. He made Sean see headless ghosts and even a banshee rising from the foundation stones of his new cottage. That would be scary. That would probably scare me away. But his plan backfired. It's just like my sainted mother always told me, Sean declared in delight. The land of Ireland is full of magic and surprises. All too soon, a fine cottage stood over Brian's home, so he built a door under Sean's bed. Now you can see his floor is the ground. Brian lived in the ground, and Sean didn't have enough money to build a floor like we have in our houses. He got out of bed and stepped right down on the dirt. So that's how the leprechaun was able to make a door under the bed. He just dug up through the dirt. Well, on moonlit nights, Brian would cobble outside. When it rained, he worked under Sean's bed, deliberately disturbing the man's sleep. Yet he didn't wish to be discovered. So, if Sean moved, Brian would whisper, "Now don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under the bed." See the cat's on the blanket? Well, after a week of restless nights, Sean decided he had to know why he wasn't sleeping well. He went to bed as usual, but though his eyes were closed, his ears were open. At midnight, the tapping began. Tap, 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 tap. And Sean sat bolt upright. "Now don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under the bed," he heard from below. "Ah, of course, the cat," Sean yawned, settling back under the covers. Then his eyes flew open. "I don't have a cat," he thought. "And even if I did, who ever heard of a talking cat?" That mouse probably wouldn't be there if there was a real cat. So what was under the bed? The answer popped into his head. Sean smiled. His mother had always said that a leprechaun in the house was a fine piece of luck. luck he couldn't afford to lose. The next morning, Sean made stirabout for breakfast and placed a bowl of it under the bed for the cat. At lunch, the bowl was empty, so he put in some stew. From that day on, every time he filled his own plate, he added a bit to the bowl under the bed. Look, it looks like Brian likes his cooking. He's really eating that food that was supposedly left for the cat. Sean was a hard-working man, but his small farm produced barely enough. Times grew hard, and times grew harder, until there came a day when Sean went to bed with both his stomach and the bowl empty. The next morning, a gold coin gleamed in the middle of the kitchen table. "What a blessing it is to have a cat in the house," he remarked aloud before hurrying out to buy good food. Where do you think the gold coin came from? I think Brian the leprechaun left it for him. They lived well for weeks on that coin, but soon the cupboard was bare again, and another gold coin appeared. "Consider this alone," Sean said, "until times are better. Thank you, cat." But when Sean went to buy his oatmeal and potatoes, there was more than one eyebrow raised in the village. A poor man might have saved one gold coin for hard times, but two? Everybody thinks that's suspicious. Gossip ran like water through fingers, and as it spread, it grew. Sean McDonald must have a whole chest of gold coins hidden in his cottage. What many tongues say, be it true or not, many ears hear. 2 robbers caught wind of the tale and decided that no one deserved Sean's gossiped gold more than they did. One crisp, dry morning, they hid outside, waiting for Sean to leave. Then they slipped into his cottage, tossed the cupboards, and pried stones out of the fireplace. They were looking everywhere for that gold, weren't they? Such a clatter made Brian poke his head out from under the bed. He was shocked at what he saw, but what happened next was worse. The cottage door swung open as Sean returned for a forgotten tool. Oh no, wonder what's going to happen. In no more time than it takes to tell, the robbers tied the poor man to a chair. "Tell us where you've hidden the gold," they bellowed. Fearing for Sean's safety, Brian banged his hammer against the floor to catch the robbers' attention. Now, what's that?" one of the men asked. Fearing for Brian's safety, Sean spoke up quickly. "Now, don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under the bed." There's his blanket with the cats on it. "Cat," the man replied. "Well, the bed's the only place we haven't looked." As Sean worried, Brian grinned. Both robbers stuck their heads under the bed, and there they saw exactly what Brian had told them, a cat. But this was a wild cat, eyes like lightning and claws like knives. The cat smiled at the robbers, then licked its lips as if it found the sight of them tasty. Wonder where that cat came from. He didn't really have a cat. I think Brian the leprechaun made one appear. With a shriek, the men tumbled backward, then fled as if the devil himself were at their heels, because that was a scary-looking cat. Well, Brian laughed till tears ran down his cheeks. They were pretty funny running away from a cat, weren't they? And Sean chuckled as well as he wiggled free of the rope. Then he stretched and bowed in the direction of his pillow. "'Tis a grand thing indeed, having a cat beneath the bed," he declared. "Aye," replied a voice from below, "and it's a pleasure having a friend above it." And they lived well and happily for the rest of their days, because they were friends. And it's always good to have friends, whether your friend is a leprechaun hiding under your bed or a big person who tries to protect you. Thank you for coming, and I hope you come in to see me soon at the library. Bye.